Hi, everyone. Welcome to SEEN, the Spiritual and Extraterrestrial Experiencers Network. My name is Donna M. Atwood, and I'm the founder of SEEN. And for those of you who don't know me, I'd just like to quickly introduce myself. I'm a lifelong ET experiencer. In the last 13 years or so of my life have been focused heavily on spiritual experiences as part of my own ascension process. I'm an intuitive empath and a channel for the divine realm. And basically, at this point, you could kind of think of me as a representative for both humanity and the angelic realm. And as I've grown in consciousness, that role has slightly changed from time to time. So that's where I'm at right now. And so it just gives you a little idea about my background. I also have a degree in psychology and a diploma in massage therapy from New York State. And let's see, what else can I tell you? I owned two nanotechnology startup companies. And I've also heard, I can't prove this, but I've heard um, from the divine realm that I actually came here. I'm one of the, I think it's the second wave of volunteers that came to the planet, that our souls originated from somewhere else. And then we're born into life on earth like everybody else. And then we're here to actually serve. And so to help people as they're going through this time of ascension. And with all of that in mind, I would like to introduce today's topic, which actually is ascension. And it's specifically the different steps involved in ascension. Even if you've gone through, a couple of rounds, if you will, of ascension, I think it's good to understand exactly what's happening during each phase. So it just gives it much more context, and it helps the experiencer to get through it. So, all right, so let's get into it today. So, spiritual ascension is the process of elevating your consciousness, healing past traumas, and moving beyond ego driven limits. It can be thought of as basically the hero's journey, where the ascending person realigns with their authentic self while also integrating their soul's essence into their everyday life. So, ascension begins with an awakening. This is actually the catalyst. It's where there's a sudden shift in perception, which leads to a profound and instant understanding that there's way more to this life than our 3D reality. Some people experience what's known as a kundalini as their catalyst, and we'll be talking more about that in another video. And there is a whole lot to kundalini. But for right now, it's basically a surge of energy. We'll just leave it at that. Um, but beyond that, other experiencers might see angels or UFOs or some other kind of paranormal phenomenon, which basically serve to wake them up. But it doesn't really matter exactly what takes place, but whatever it is, the person's worldview is just shattered, and they know that something really significant is underway. And the best way to think of the awakening is it's really a spiritual wake-up call. All right, so the next step, after the spiritual wake-up call, is known as the dark night of the soul. It's also known as the purge. And I can tell you from personal experience, especially the very first one that I went through, I've been through a bunch of them now, is that this is often a painful period that forces a person inward. Sometimes it's even a bit scary. I mean, mine was really scary, the first one. After that, it wasn't so scary. It's really a time where old relationships and identities and habits that no longer serve a person's growth are released. You can think of it as kind of a person's world collapsing all around them. It's really a painful process, but it's a necessary process. And some experiencers have even reported seeing apparitions of extraterrestrials and or hearing clairaudiently from demons And what that does is it gets them so uncomfortable that they end up taking action, necessary action. Other times, it could be something more like a series of seemingly coincidental yet way over the top and very difficult to deal with events, just like boom, 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 one right after the other. But whatever it is that takes place, there's no question that something serious is occurring, and that something has to be done to bring this time of crisis and really upheaval to an end. All right, so the third step in the ascension process is known as shadow work. And it's super important to successfully navigate this part. Shadow work is the process of digging into the subconscious mind and identifying, confronting, and integrating the repressed, hidden, or unacceptable parts of a person's subconscious. This includes things like fears, trauma, jealousy, and shame. It's a time of tremendous healing. And the reason it's so important is because it's impossible, literally impossible, to raise one's consciousness while carrying dense, hidden baggage, um, that just drag you back down. And you just can't really climb up without dealing with all of that sort of darkness and density. So things have to be brought out into the light so they can be understood and healed. So the fourth step is known as integration, and this can be thought of as the ultimate alignment. It is the process of embodying your soul's essence and wisdom. It's basically a final merging of oneself, both the light and dark aspects. It's also a time when a person brings forth their highest spiritual insights into the physical world. So they will discuss them, or they'll with friends and family, or they'll go online and make videos like this, or they'll do something. Maybe they'll write a book. And the highest spiritual insights, a couple of examples would include things like unity consciousness, or depending on how far along in the ascension process a person is, because most people go through more than one time of going through all these steps. It could eventually become God or source consciousness. And we will talk about these ideas later on in another video. In reality, these steps are rarely a one time event, as I just alluded to. And most people cycle through multiple times. And I'm the queen of that. I have been through this so many times. I must have really been in need of a lot of work. The thing is that with each new awakening, it often triggers a mini dark night of the soul. And it seems that for most people, the first dark night of the soul is the major one, and then after that, it's not ever quite as bad. And the dark night of the soul always requires deeper shadow work, which then leads to the next level of integration, and it just goes on and on. And the last thing I would like to say about this is, as I have been going through my ascension, and I have been told recently from the divine realm that I have actually completed, fully completed ascension. Thank goodness. The thing is that there's a lot more to it than just the steps that we've sort of outlined here today. And in another video, I'm definitely going to discuss the things, sort of unusual things that I've experienced. And when I say sort of unusual, I mean some of them were absolutely bizarre and off the charts. But it's so funny because the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, there's just this amazing way of, by having things so strange as you get further along, it actually makes sense. Um, once you begin to understand it, there's so many lessons to learn, not just about yourself. Then you start learning a lot more and more and more and more about spirituality itself. And a lot of this seems sort of metaphorical the further down the line you get. But we will get into all of that later. In this video, I really just wanted to go over the steps, because not everybody has really started going through ascension, or maybe they're in the earliest parts and they don't understand what's going on, or they're looking around at people around them, and they're going, why is everybody so weird right now? I think I think Ascension has a lot to do with it. It's truly a time of growth and upheaval. People I've spoken with, friends, have said that they've had marriages end, they've moved to other countries or across a country, they've changed their line of work. Um, they tend to become healthier, more at least more concerned about their health. They try to do improve in that area. um, it's a time of healing relationships, sometimes breaking off relationships, but the further you go into ascension and the more spiritually advanced you become, I think there's less and less. Well, not always, it depends on the situation, but I think that the ascended or ascending person will always try to leave a relationship on the best terms possible if it ever comes to that. So I think that there's a lot here, and I will tell you honestly, my life has changed profoundly. It has changed for the best, for the better, the best. It is the best life I've had thus far. It's the best time in my life, and I've been repeatedly told, I can't tell you how many times now, again, clairaudiently, from the divine realm, but even better days are ahead for humanity, but also for myself, and I'm really grateful for that. Truly grateful. So. Um, yeah, so I hope that new experiencers or people just sort of interested in this topic that have don't really know much about it. I hope you found it helpful, and please do keep in mind that this just kind of cycles and goes on and on and on until a person's just as healed as they can possibly be. So. All right. So I want to thank you all so much. I really do appreciate you spending time with me today. It always means the world to me. Again, my name is Donna M. Atwood, and I'm the founder of SEEN, the Spiritual and Extraterrestrial Experiencers Network. Thank you so much and take care. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.